live, you're more than welcome to just chill out while we get the stream sorted and get everyone readied up. Shouldn't be too long now, probably only a couple of minutes or so. But yeah, looking like a good race tonight, hopefully, around Shanghai. So it looks as though we are getting ourselves underway for the final, or the penultimate Sprint Championship. So hello and welcome everyone back to another pre-season race. The penultimate pre-season race for the APPF1 Sprint Championship. Getting ever closer to the start of the new season, which I'm sure we are all buzzing for. We head then to Shanghai for the Chinese Grand Prix, a circuit not visited by the APPF1 circus for quite some time, but it has given such incredible racing in the past, along with some of the most memorable moments. The snailing turns 1 and 2, along with a heavy braking zone of turn 14, should provide a plethora of opportunities for our drivers to overtake. As always, I'm your commentator Zach Sweeney, talking you through all the action today, and with this final short qualifying soon underway, buckle up and get ready for the Chinese Grand Prix. And what timing? Only 2 seconds now until we get ourselves underway, so I timed that pretty well. But no, nonetheless, we are getting ourselves ready now. 80 minutes then on to the clock. We got Scott in, Max in as well, pushing for a top 7 tonight, or a top 8. Go for it, Max. Give it absolutely everything. So yeah, here at the Shanghai circuit, a circuit we haven't actually seen host a Formula 1 race since 2019, I believe. Was that for the 1000 Grand Prix celebration? But of course didn't actually, hasn't hosted one over the course of 2020 due to the certain illness. Who's out on track though? We've got Max though in the Williams heading out for his first run here in China. A circuit that, yeah, because it hasn't hosted a race for quite some time, you would almost forget about it and forget it's actually on the calendar for this year. So Max headed out, and I'm gonna guess because it's just so abnormal for people to be driving around here, that people are going to be forgetting a lot of the track. So it's going to be a learning process for quite a lot of people. Ace for the W, MX then Powerfs. I would back that. I think I could make a strong argument to back that, definitely. I think they are probably the 3 of the stronger end of the drivers on this grid tonight. But we'll see how people get on. Max weaving around, you can see coming towards turn 12 and 13. These basically are the opposite to turn 1 and 2. In that they open up in a snail fashion as opposed to tighten up, such as turn 1 and 2. Down this back DRS straight though, very long, well over a kilometre long, and really does open up the door for ascending towards the heavy braking zone, this sort of hairpin type corner that you then get yourself full throttle for, and then towards the final corner of turn 15. Look for that 50 board, chuck it in, get a good run, don't run out too wide as to lose the car or invalidate your lap, but all the way to the left hand side then as Max starts his lap on board with the Williams as he comes towards turn 1. You can go pretty much flat in, but as soon as you start turning, you've got to get on those brakes and use the engine braking and just coerce yourself around the corner. Just try and bring it through as smooth as you can in towards turn 2. Again, just got to chuck it. No, that's actually turn 3. Turn 4 again, completely flat. Turn 3 is just a bit of a chuck to the left and downshift through turn 5 and towards 6. 24.5 to the first sector for Max, not bad. Down to second gear for turn 7. Open up the corner as best you can. And then towards turn 8, should be around about flat if you can get it right, but the dirty air from Aces and a bit of understeer for Max has really cost him there. Into towards turn 9, get on the brakes. Flat through turn 11, and now towards turn turn 10 and then towards turn 11. Roll it through. Again, a decent middle sector for Max, of course, only just his banker lap time, so not going to be the biggest issue. As he exits turn 13, very, very long snaking corner. Have to nail it. DRS open, then that drag reduction system. Gonna help him down this back straight. And we got Ghost in as well, so we've got a lovely audience of people. 100-meter board then as you go down the gears as quick as you can. Use that engine braking. Second gear, roll it out to the curb. You want to get a little bit more of a straighter exit than that to aid the traction. 50-meter board though, and chuck it in. Fourth gear goes a little bit wide, a little bit sideways, and that is what can happen if you get it all wrong across the line. It's only going to be a 33.3 because of that mistake. We'll go on board with his teammate of Kington, who looks to set a lap as well on these soft compound tyres. Going for the softs should be the quicker option, of course. Maybe not in a 50% race, but in these 25% races can definitely get away with it. A 31.3 for Sumo then, as MX sets in behind a 31.6. Kington, what can he do as he crosses the line? It's going to be a 32.7, knocking Max back to last. Let's go on board with Paus then. He's on the medium tyres, going for maybe a banker lap time or something through the final corner though. It's been hooked up relatively well. Of course, this track, as he goes P4, this track is where Paus took his maiden sprint championship podium. If you look back to, I think it was season 1 or even season 2 of the sprint championship, it was the Austria and China race where Paus was very cruelly robbed of a podium in Austria and fought back in China to find himself onto the podium. A third place finish for Paus, and that was the start of many, a statement of progress, if you will. And now he's up there fighting with the top dogs, and acquired, in fact, 2, maybe even 3 wins in season 3 of the sprint championship. One at Belgium, or no, actually there wasn't one at Belgium. He got robbed in Belgium. It was in Monza, and then of course Spain, where Vardy had a time penalty. So Paus managed to get himself promoted up to the win. And currently sits P4 in China with Starry looking pretty good. Aces goes quickest though by 0.3 of a second, a 31.087 for the Mercedes man, who's been on an absolute run of form as of late. Really pulling through on the new game and having a massive step forward. Of course, very quick on the previous game, but definitely not with the supreme pace that he's got now. He's just been absolutely on it week in, week out, every race. We go into now, we expect Aces to be up there, and looking into the new season, I'm going to be expecting Aces to launch a title fight at the very least, go for some wins, and it's going to be crucial for him to prove himself now in pre-season and have that confidence going in. Ginger Prince across the line goes P9, a 35.2. Pomme Alex in the McLaren now across the line, DRS open. And what's it going to be for him? Nope, in fact it's him starting a lap, because the game doesn't like to tell us when they're actually on an out lap or not. Through turn 1 and 2 goes very wide, and the quicker line in fact does really open up the door on the inside. Of course we saw that with Kvyat and Sebastian Vettel. In real life it can happen if you open the door on the inside. So sometimes it's better just to keep it tight as to avoid being overtaken. Now down towards turn 7. Yeah, everyone really struggling with turn 8 today, aren't they? Oh no, yeah, with turn 7 in fact, the long left-hander. It's very hard to nail it, and it was flat out at one point, then it stopped being flat out. It's flat out at very inconsistent times. You sometimes have enough grip, sometimes don't, sometimes have to lift off, sometimes don't. So it doesn't really like you very much, that corner, and it's very awkward, and it is very easy to spin as well if you get too much on the curb on the inside. So yeah, going to be something to look out for. China, while it doesn't produce maybe the best racing in real life, can do so in the game. I mean, I say that 2018 was a pretty good race here in China, with Daniel Ricciardo late safety car, boxing for the purple ultra soft compound tyres to blitz his way through the field. Of course 2018 was when we didn't have the soft, medium or hard, but we did, but not exclusively. Across the line, Pomme Alex goes P9 and ahead of Ginger Prince with Davila on an outlap. Jack Olaco has just stopped at the end of the pit lane, waiting for the McLaren to go through. Good sportsmanship shown from the Haas driver, who again is looking pretty quick, just hasn't been able to get the get the results that he arguably could deserve. And he's going to want to try and prove himself as best he can today. And now a lot of people going out on the soft compound tyres. Palv's one of them. Tier though, still opting for those mediums, probably just waiting now halfway through this short qualifying session. As he pulls over and allows the Williams to go through. That Kington on a lap? Well, Kington is on a lap, yeah, through turn 12 and 13 now. He's around about 2.5 tenths up on his previous best time, which at the moment is going to be good enough for P6. If he can find a little bit more time in this final sector to get a better run, if he can, and a better exit off of turn 14, he can definitely find himself doing pretty well. And now excess of 200 miles an hour as he slams on the anchors down to first gear to get the braking done, and then gets a nice little switchback exit, finds himself onto the throttle pedal, builds it up. You really got to build up the traction now on this game, and have been able, have had to, as he goes P6 as I predicted by around about just over half a tenth. Yeah, 135, not bad at all. If you can find a little bit more time, you should be able to be up there definitely, but maybe you might need a little bit more time in the bank. Just send it, Ginger Prince. Just absolutely send it. Now with Davila now on his lap though, he's looking also the teammate of Palv's, both of them working extremely well together. Of course, one sprint championship, constructors championship under their belt. They have been doing incredibly well as teammates together, always maximising the points where they can, even if they are caught up in incidents. They keep themselves composed, they motivate each other to keep going and bring home the points in the end where other teammates wouldn't communicate as well. And communication, a massive thing in racing as a whole, and you've got to be verbal with your teammate and work together if you want to bring home those points. DRS open then as Davila across the line goes P3, a 31.516, and just under 5 tenths of a second off pole position, and 7 tenths ahead of his teammate Palvs, who's now rounding the first sector and goes about 5 tenths quicker and purple to the first sector. So Palvs looking very quick, coming into today with confidence, because the last time he was at China he was on the podium. He's going to be pushing ever so hard to bring home the good result in pre-season. While yes, only pre-season, still going to be a massive boost of confidence going into the season. If you've done well in pre-season, you don't want to be with those doubts in your mind going into the season, and have that confidence early. 6 tenths up now into the second sector goes Palvs, and into this final sector he's going to be looking to improve just a little bit more and find himself even higher up the grid on his first soft run. I'm sure he's going to get maybe 1 or 2 more runs. DRS open then as he runs his way down this back straight. But yeah, Palv's doing really well as of recently. He's really come into this new game doing well. Of course, he had a massive improvement on 2020, but the improvement now onto 2021 has just been exponential, and he's just gone straight up to the top instead of languishing, picking up the pieces for an odd podium. And on the back end of 2020 and now onto 2021, he goes provisional pole by literally nothing, less than 3/100ths of a second, a 31.059 for Palvs. If he could get himself on pole position, that would be something special, wouldn't it? But as I was saying, yeah, onto the back end of 2020 and now into 2021, as Sumo just beats that, goes even quicker into the 30s already with a 30.724. So Palvs knocked down to P2. And I will get my point in eventually. The growth from the back end of 2020 to now of 2021, he's just been a different breed of Palvs since his first podium race, and in fact first wheel race back in December when I first joined the league as a commentator. Managed to track the position, and others have gone straight to the bottom. Yeah, Palvs has gone straight to the top at the sacrifice of others. Who they are, we won't mention. That's not important, it's not the point at all. But Palv's looking good, so is Aces and Sumo as well, really doing well. Of course, a very quick driver, and has got the ability to be up there when he can be. But it's just about managing to actually convert. As once again, how do I keep managing to do that? Yeah, something special, definitely. Palvs is something special in of itself, so am I. Nonetheless, Sumo, yeah, doing really well, and I hope he does well, because he doesn't ever catch a break, Sumo. Always something has to go wrong for him when it looks good, when it looks to be good, something has to go wrong. Just similar to sort of George Russell in the points. Yeah, similar to George Russell in the points. It's whenever it looks to be going well, it always goes wrong. So hopefully for Sumo he can convert and do well tonight. Tier as well, looking really good in the AlphaTauri, up in P4, ahead of Davler and MX, two people you would consider to be definitely up there. But MX now starting his second lap, looking to improve. That's the thing with MX. He goes a little bit slower for his first run, but then really improves for his second and third. And let's see what he can do into the end of Sector 1. Towards turn 5 and 6. Let's see what he's done. He's gone 2.5 tenths quicker. Not purple, but definitely an improvement nonetheless. At the moment, 2.5 tenths will see him up 1 position, but he's still got 2 sectors left to improve. 3 minutes then and 55 seconds left of this session. And crucial times now as we've seen a lot of people trying to improve. Pommy Alex out of the session, and AlphaTauri spun. Is that Ginger Prince going for a spin? Indeed it is. That's similar place to where Alex Albon spun in the Toro Rosso back in 2019, the actual last time we were here. Going from pit lane at 2P10. Purple to the middle sector goes MX then. He's on a pretty good lap in the Haas. Trying to slowly build up the throttle and build up the traction through turn 13. And DRS open now down this back straight. For MX, who again, yeah, a very aggressive driver, a very fast driver. And if he... Yeah, he should have won every single APP race. Yeah, definitely, 100%. As MX finds himself going up into P5. And Starry, yeah, doing an incredible job in P7. Quite high up and was as high as P3 at one point in this session. And hopefully he can improve because he's not actually that far off in retrospect. Only a couple of tenths or so should see him well inside the mix. And of course, around about, I believe, 14 laps on the Shanghai circuit. Oh, that's sideways for Davler. That's in the wall. That's a huge crash for the Aston Martin, who was trying to improve upon his time, but is now out of the session, coming off of turn 11. And yeah, that's a big one. And his tyre well and truly off the car and him out of this session. So it's Palf's having to fly the colours up in front for the team. And another poor qualifying session for Davler as he gets passed by his teammate. Head in the hands, shame for this one. But Sumo, yeah, he's out for another lap. It'll be his final lap in qualifying. And yeah, let's see. This is going to be an interesting fight for pole. This is Aces. Goes around about half a tenth or so slower to the first sector. And he's got it all to find now in the middle and final. That's the thing with Aces though. You never usually always goes for pole. Goes purple to the middle sector, about half a tenth up, and that's looking good to at least get himself onto the front row. Not always going for pole, but he's always in the top 3, and when he does have a chance for pole, he will go for it. And he needs to find around about 3 tenths or so in this final sector in order to actually gain that pole position. DRS open then, blitzing down this back straight, 201, 2, 3, maybe even 4, maybe even 5 miles an hour as he slams on the anchors, really having to trail brake to actually get the car turned in for turn 14. Manages it pretty well. MX into the pit lane though, so he's not going to be able to improve. He stays P5 at the very best with 55 seconds left in this session. Aces across the line. Kington disqualified from the session for driving the wrong way. Aces onto the front row though. He's got one more lap if he wants to go for it and try and improve. Now Sumo starting his lap. Aces stays, well, he's probably going to stay P2 unless he can improve on this lap and wear down his tyres, but Palf's on a lap and looking to end off sector 2. Has he gone up on his time? Yes, he has by around about 4/100ths of a second, but he's going to need to improve a lot through this final sector. Well, I say a lot, around about a couple of tenths or so. A little bit of a twitch through turn 13. You saw having to correct the steering wheel in order to stop himself from spinning around, which is unfortunate. The DRS opening as he runs down towards turn 14, and how much is he going to be up? Of course, we have no live delta, so we can't actually see. He was a little bit up to the middle sector. Tier goes P3 with a 1:30.985, so he's looking good. Palf's down to P4. Needs to find, yeah, definitely needs to find a little bit of time then. Can he stick it on the front row? Can he stick it on pole then? Palf's across the line, stays fourth. Unfortunately, only managing half a tenth up on his time. Can Sumo extend the gap? His Ace is up on his time as well. Sumo now going through turn 13. Sumo on pole, not quite yet. Aces is still on the lap and he's pushing for it, but he's not got a lot of ERS, so I'm going to guess, yeah, he's not going to be on the lap. Unless Jackalacko, Starry or Max can do anything today. Tier has retired from the session. He's going to stay P3. An absolutely incredible lap indeed from Tier to stick himself onto that second row and hopefully going to be gunning for a podium. Sumo, that's over the grass. That's not going to be the quickest way around the track, but I'm not too sure if he minds as he pulls himself into the pit lane. Aces can't improve, so stays second. And this is going to be maybe even Sumo on pole unless Max can pull an absolute worldie out of the bag. Same with Starry or Jackalacko who comes into the pit lane. So we're waiting for the McLaren and Williams to round the last couple of corners. Can Max find himself improving over the curb on the exit across the line? Stays at P9. And on 4-lap old softs, Max, you're going to be very much hurting in the race. Starry though needs about 5 tenths to improve his position. Can he cross the line? No, we can't. Unfortunately, stays in P8. So Davilo got a bit of a lucky break and only dropped 1 position down to P7. Wow, I didn't even realise I've got 13 people tuning in today, which is lovely to see, and thank you all for joining me on the penultimate sprint race pre-season. So after qualifying then, it is Sumo that takes pole position here in China, 2 tenths clear of Aces versus Kings, who joins him on the front row. Tier and Powers make up the second row, and third and fourth it's a British 1, 2, 3, 4 with the Canadian of MX in 5th place, joined by his teammate Jackalacko in P6. Davila, after a crash in qualifying, stays P7. Starry P8 with Max and Pommy Alex rounding off the top 10. Ginger Prince in P11 with Kington disqualified for driving the wrong way around, and he will start at the back of the grid. And yeah, countdown now towards the race. Should be a pretty good one. I think this is going to be a nice one. It's a short run towards turn 1, but you can really promote yourself. I mean, his flag says... I mean, he sounds Canadian, but he can speak German. I think lives in Germany. I'm not too sure. But, yeah. I don't know. He's probably like... Yeah, Canadian and German. What would you call that? German. Jacadian. I don't know. He's either, yeah, I don't know, ask him. I'm sure, I think I don't know. He does sound Canadian, but he can speak German, I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure. He's a good racer. Let's just stick it at that and leave it at that with a countdown to the race. Moments underway. Made a mistake in the last sector, was half a second up. That would have been good enough to improve your position. Germadian, yeah. Oh yeah, my P1 on Friday. I uploaded that TikTok of the of me doing the running comms, and it's nearly 100,000 views. Germanadian, yeah, that one. Yeah, that TikTok's nearly 100,000 views. I'm guessing people just like the live comms of me driving while doing it, because the other one I did with Ghosted at Zambor is also at something like 50,000 views, whereas everything else is averaging sort of like 400, 500. So like. Yeah, I think people quite like the running comms. I guess it's because it's more just like, I guess it's because it's like, oh my god, he's doing it while driving, rather than right now it's just I'm talking at pretend race cars, not actually actively doing anything. Well, I mean, it's still a skill. I'd like to say it's a skill. I mean, it's pretend race cars, but I have to talk about it. I mean, yeah, probably not my best today. I am very, very tired, but nonetheless, yeah. I guess it's because it's just like oh wow, he's doing that while driving. But what's funny about it while we're on the formation lap that Sumo leads us around with a couple of corners left to go is just how toxic some people can be. Like you do all of that and you get all the positive comments, and it's very nice. But then you get the couple of people that try and really pinpoint something to criticize you about, and then it's really funny when you shut them up, or something. But like, it's just why, like, just shut up. Like, I don't care. It's actually really funny. Let's race this Anvil. We can create another rival one. Yeah, 100% rival one. That would be good. Yeah. Do the Monday night races, or something. But the predicted pit stop strategy then, soft to medium or soft to hards then, pitting around lap 4 to 7. So these softs are going to go off quite quickly in this race. They should last, yeah, in a 50% race they do last not very long, so around about 5-6 or so laps. So that is definitely transferred into the 25% races. Yeah, they're just looking for reaction, definitely. But it's still funny to try and like lead them on and antagonize them. I find that quite funny. But yeah, different people in their own, whether it's correcting their grammar or something small like that, just to really tickle their nerves. It's a good one. Nonetheless, everyone on the soft compound tyre, bar Ginger Prince, who's gone for the medium tyre outside the top 10, of course, benefiting from that free tyre choice that he gets from starting outside the top 10. $99.2k, 800 views off 100k that video. But nonetheless, yeah, waiting for the green flag now. I'm waiting for the 5 red lights then for the Chinese Grand Prix. 14 laps ahead of us now. We go to 1 light, 2 light, 3 light, 4, 5 red lights ahead of the Chinese Grand Prix. Sumo on pole, Aces next to him. We've been held for ages, but we are finally underway in racing. And what a start that is from Aces, who already pulls alongside Sumo now, coming towards turn 1. They're 3 abreast here, looking to get spicy as well as Aces takes the lead. Sumo trying to give him a run around the outside. MX already up to 3rd and looking down the inside of Sumo, who's had an absolutely appalling start. It's going to be the inside for turn 2. There's a spin. Is that Palfs and Starry involved? There is. That's Palfs at the back of the grid. But remember, this is how we got his podium a few months ago. Aces leads then from Sumo, MX in 3rd, Jackalacco and Davila make up your top 5 with the 2 McLaren 6 and 7, Tier, Kington, Max, Ginger Prince and Palfs after sector 1. Palfs already getting himself up the inside of Ginger Prince and up into P11. Anything can happen, and he's got it all the way. He's got all the rest of this race to get it done, and Sumo putting that pressure on. He didn't get the best of starts. Ace has just got off so well off the line, and Max as well trying to get past his Williams teammate. Looks to the outside of turn 9, does go for it. Very bold move to make, as of course Kington has got a bit of damage. It's going to make his life easier, but gets it done. Tier now on the inside of Starry, another one who didn't get off to the best of starts after starting 3rd, and is going to be on an absolute charge to come back at him in this race. MX though is going to be very aggressive, and in fact he's going to be a little bit too aggressive on the throttle as he goes in and finds himself into the barrier, and he's collected Davila with him. That's a VSC, a very big lot of carnage at the moment. Is it going to be upgraded to a full course safety car? I'm not quite sure. Of course it's a full course safety car, a full blown safety car, a physical safety car I should say. But Pav's already back up into P9, and the race pretty much pressed pause on. Anyone into the pit lane? Aces is coming in. So he's going to, of course, everyone's going to be going slower under the VSC. So it's effectively a free pit stop for Aces. What tire is he going to go on though? He's going for the medium, so he's going to get this free pit stop underway. And a lot of people coming in for damage. He might get held. No, he won't. Just about manages to tuck up in front. Why am I racing? I don't know. I'm a commentator, so yeah, good decision from Aces. Managed to benefit off it. Davila though takes the lead of the race. Sumo is having an absolute nightmare. No, Sumo's in the lead. Goes over the gravel there. I think it's more just a timing glitch, because for some reason when people box on lap 1 they always messes up the timing. But nonetheless, Palf's in it as well. He's gone to the mediums. A lot of people going for the mediums. A couple going for the hards to repair the damage and just be comfortable to the end of the grid of the race. But yeah, I race, just not a lot. Max has got a drive-through penalty though for speeding under the VSC. That's a very clumsy mistake to make, but we are back under green flag racing. Tier still on the back of Starry as Jackalacco and Sumo have retired from the session. What has happened there? Have they come together off on this straight? They're in the same wall together and both out. And that's what I was saying about Sumo. It never ever goes right for him. He had pole, and on lap 3 of 14 he finds himself out of the race, or lap 2 of the race, sorry. So we've already lost 3 people. Predicted pit stop strategy still soft to medium, but that's going to be very differing now as a lot of people are going to be on, after that VSC, are going to be on different strategies. But Davila trying to chase after Pommy Alex, who inherits the race lead because of that, and is going to be trying to control it. DRS enabled as we finally get ourselves onto lap 3. I do love a grammar correction, Lucy, yeah, definitely. But Ace is in P4, he's on these mediums. Definitely now, I would say, the quickest of the bunch on this field with Sumo and Jackalacco and MX out. Yeah, I can hear an angry Sumo from here. I can hear a disappointed Sumo from here. Doesn't really get angry, gets more disappointed, which is arguably worse. But P10, still a point. Still a point. If we're going off the normal Formula 1 timing, or the Formula 1 point scoring, I should say. But Palps into P7, chasing after Max, as he's not a minute and 33 behind or in front of Max. He's in fact right on his tail and arguably right up in the DRS activation point. Of course, he's on these mediums, Max on the hards, and with a drive-through isn't going to be as quick than Paus, but Paus on a redemption drive, he's got that motivation, he's got that fire to try and bring himself back through. And can he do a repeat of what he did in the Sprint Championship season number 1? I want to say 1, just to make him sound a little bit better, but I think it's 2. But he is definitely tucked up in the slipstreamer match. Max is going to have the DRS, and he's got a lot of ERS left in the tank. Same with Max, in fact. But Davila really closing onto the back of Pommy Alex, and as we look on there, you can just see the green dot go round. Davila has spun on the exit of turn 14, tries to get himself going again. No damage done to the back or to the front of that Aston Martin. Ace has managed to get himself back into the podium places, takes that position off Ginger Prince up the inside of turn 14, as Paus managed to get himself past Max, who goes in a little bit deep, could get the drive off. Fastest lap for Aces, 34.589. As he rounds off lap 4. MX has left the session, which is fair enough considering he DNF'd on the start of lap 1. Paus 34.5 on the fastest lap, closing on Max, pulls to the right hand side, doesn't quite fully commit to go for it. Max gives him the rube, but Paus thinking better of it and going to bide his time a little bit better. Ace is already up into P2 after Davila has come into the pit lane following his spin. Apologies for the background noise. I believe Dad is doing something ridiculously stupid, which is very poorly timed, which is unfortunate, but it shouldn't play too big of a factor. But Paus charging after Max, trying to get himself into P5. Towards turn 9 and 10 in this very tight, twisty middle sector. Just needs a good run off, and he's going to wait for that DRS zone. Of course, the closest battle on track at the moment. Max pulling to the left hand side into the middle of the track to defend, weaving around as Paus goes in very deep, almost into the back of Max there. Manages to pull it back though, and not slice off his front wing at all. Starry as well looking to get involved in this fight. Also on the back though of Max is Paus. He's got the DRS, he's closing, he's got the slipstream, and this is very poor time drilling. I can hear it, and I can just imagine how annoying that must be. But in towards turn 14, Aces goes fastest, 34.281 in the Mercedes on an absolute charge. Retakes the race lead as Pommy Alex decides to come in for the medium tyre. Max having to serve his drive through, so Paus gets a free drive up into P5, maybe even P4, as he raises Pommy Alex on the exit. Up into P4 he goes, and on to the end of the race on those medium tyres. So Paus doing quite a good job, only one position off a podium place. Tier getting himself up the inside of his teammate Ginger Prince, who doesn't really fight that one. Team orders down at AlphaTauri, I'm sure. But Tier goes a little bit too deep. He's looking quick on those hard compound tyres, and it could be a double AlphaTauri podium as it stands. But Paus is closing, look, really reeling in Ginger Prince, who I'm sure would be happy just to be up there fighting. He isn't too bothered whether he finishes on the podium or not, but would be nice. Paus absolutely coming for it, but one DNF, Ginger Prince, and you are definitely secured a podium. Of the front guys, that is. Of Ace's Tier or Paus, you are definitely getting yourself onto the podium. If all three of them DNF, you're into the lead of the race. But at the moment, the top 8, the only people left in the race, as Max also manages to DNF. I think he's just given up with the drive-through. Goes off at the exit of, is that turn number? Going into turn 7, might have had a bit of a spin, go backwards into the wall or something. Yeah, a tier podium would be very nice. Aces still extending the gap at the front. 33.8 at the moment is the benchmark to beat, so he's going full for it, leading the race. Palps though closing on Ginger Prince at an absolute rate of knots. That's Starry going around in the background. He's going to get overtaken by his teammate Ginger Prince to the right hand side. Palps pulls to the left, swoops around the outside and takes that podium place. Not too much of a defence being held up from Ginger Prince. So Palps back onto the podium and is looking pretty good now, bar no more mistakes for the remainder of the race as we approach halfway through. Down the gears, and a very spaced out grid at the moment. Aces of course leading the way very, very well. Really doing an incredible job at the front, just controlling the pace and doing what he does best. Which is what you would always expect for him. He's been doing an incredible job, of course, all throughout pre-season on the new game. We say it time and time again. Aces is one to look out for going into the new season in a couple of weeks' time. And is that a spin further back? I think that's the other McLaren of Alex going around this time. He could actually lose that position back to Starry into P7 and Davila up into P5. And with Davila closing on Ginger Prince. And Ginger Prince, yeah, doing it really well. Davila gets himself ahead and up into the top 4. So Sanasa Mutton 3-4. Aces leads the way ahead of Tier, Palps, Davila and Ginger Prince, your top 5 with Starry, Kington and Alex rounding off the grid. Alex into the pit lane for a new front wing. Yeah, that is definitely going to be very much called for a new front wing. Mechanics popping it on. And, yeah, he drives himself out on the softs to the end of the race. Should be a really comfortable drive to the end of the race for him. But yeah, very, very spaced out at the moment, everyone. The closest gap is Starry to Ginger Prince and is closing very quickly to get himself into P5. Trying his absolute best to recover. Alex has lost his helmet. Wait, did he actually? Oh my, he has. I didn't even notice. He's driving around with a balaclava. That's a little bit dangerous. Reminds me of when Mark Webber retired. And he took his helmet off, but Alex is going around at full speed, racing around on those soft compound tyres, doing sort of, yeah, well, 180 degrees now. If his seatbelts come undone and he'd smacked on the brakes, he's going to smack his head on the steering wheel. And if he crashes, he's got absolutely nothing to protect him. As Starry's now onto the back of Ginger Prince, coming towards turn 1 and 2. Looking to get himself into P5. Ginger Prince not going to fight that one too hard. Starry sticks up the inside, gets given the space. And well, gets himself into P5. Ginger Prince down to P6. But Palps looking to set his sights forward on Tier. Could go for a P2 here. But Alex, yeah, look at him. Absolutely no helmet whatsoever. He's not going to get that benefit of the helmet spoiler on the back. That's going to be at least 4 tenths lost, I reckon. Because of the lost area from that helmet spoiler. At least 4 tenths are going to be lost to the McLaren, which is unfortunate. He's also got the number 4 in his car. Is that normal? No, he's got Lando's number as well, unless I'm just reading it wrong. No, he has. He's literally driving Lando's car. It's not as if he's like got his own number or anything. He's literally driving as if it was Lando Norris on AI, and his teammate Starry has gone for a little bit of a spin. Ginger Prince and Kington both managed to get themselves in front. It's been an absolute been an absolute nightmare for McLaren today as they spin at the same corner. Kington chasing after Ginger Prince though. I think I did see that at one point, Halo just standing up in the car on the Halo. Upon me, Alex. Yeah, he's got no protection though. So hopefully he knows when to back out of a move and pull out of it with no protection. But Kington chasing after Ginger Prince. Going to go for maybe a switchback, maybe even go around the outside, looking for it. Starry into the pit lane. Could be an interesting race between the two McLarens then, as the Williams, Kington gets himself up the inside and ahead towards the top 5 in this race. So a good result for the Williams guys, of course, after the DNF of Max. Yeah, heartbreak for Sumo, I must say. It really never does go his way. I think I might have jinxed it a little bit. But he got pole, he got a bad start, but he was there. And then off the restart, I'm not quite sure what happened between him and Jack Malaco, but something happened where they come together and they found themselves into the wall. Maybe one of them had a bit of a spin or something and collected the other one, or they actually genuinely came together on track. Starry, though, comes out 8.8 seconds behind Pomey Alex in a very spaced out field. 2.7 seconds though. We're going to ride on board with Paus for a little while because he is gaining on tier, but by how much? And how much can he push those medium tyres? All Bluey's fault, 100%. Absolutely 100% Bluey's fault. Always Bluey's fault. Can always put it down to Bluey, but Paus hopefully can chase after for tier and give us a bit of a race. 2.5 and the gap is closing, but how much can he push those medium tyres for before they start to fall off the cliff? Of course, those hard tyres of tier are going to be a little bit more secure and more stable to the end. .1 and still closing tier, of course. Now with a penalty, we'll definitely see Paus get himself ahead. 3 seconds, so he needs to pull 7 tenths, sorry, on Paus. He wants to stay in front. Paus closing the gap very marginally. Not got a lot of ERS, neither of them really do. So this is a direct fight on time between the two. Could also be a direct fight on track. .3, and still very much closing this. Paus really gaining by quite a lot, and is going to find himself in the DRS very soon. There's yellow flags to the first sector. That could be Kington having a bit of a moment. 1.2, still not quite inside the DRS, but certainly gaining and chasing after that P2. While it might not necessarily be crucial to do so, all he has to do is stay where he is now and we'll still get P2 and of course a podium. Either way, he's still going to want to do it on track. I'm sure every racing driver would want to do it on track. With Ginger Prince pulling himself into the pit lane, that might explain the yellow flags. Actually no, he just didn't pit, did he? He was always on those mediums, so he's now into the pits for the softs and comes out in P7, P8 as Starry might just about manage to scrape his way through, and does. So Ginger Prince in P8. Lap 11 of 14 though. 3 laps left of this race remaining. In fact, actually no, because Ace is about to start lap 12. He is, yeah. So 3 laps, 12, 13 and 14. Paus putting the pressure on. Tier now, he's going to be looking in his mirrors. Is that what happened? Ah. I didn't actually notice he got a drive through. It must have been for speeding. I think it might have got overlaid with Max. Ow. Okay. That is... Yeah, wow. Okay, yep. That's different. Certainly is different. A different scenario. And I'd say very sumo-like. But no, yeah, that's a shame. And I think more of a shame for Jack Alacco now that they've... that he got collected in that. What happened then, Sumo? If I didn't even realise you were in the chat. What actually happened? Talk us through, please do. It'd be nice to get your insight into it because I didn't actually manage to catch it. I didn't quite see what happened with it all. I just saw you two actually burst off into the wall when you were fighting. But DRS open for Pavs. He's going to be closing in slipstream. Not quite going to be close enough to go for it in towards turn 14. Goes a little bit too deep, and he does do that quite often in the slipstream. In towards turn 15. There's a spinner of Kington off of turn 12. Very, very spaced out grid. Ace has just absolutely dominated it. Yeah, come on, pal. Stay clean. Keep yourself going. Keep going strong. It's very wide, tries to just manage the gap. I've got a very squeaky pedal there. 4/10 between third and second. In towards turn 6, goes a little bit slower to his PB does Paus, but that's probably down to the degradation on his tyres. Penultimate lap now of the race, of course, 1.5 laps. Can Paus do it on track? Will definitely do it on penalties provided he stay clean. Another crash for the McLaren team, who just have not had a good day today, have they? Going to be no VSC or full course safety car because of the late nature of the crash. There's only 1.5 laps left to go. That's a shame. Both of you were doing really well up until that point, and I think both of you definitely had a good opportunity to be up there with Aces and Tier and Paus 100%. But DRS open for Paus, then he's using a little bit of a VRS to try and close the gap and bridge the gap. Tier, of course, you can see weaving around trying to break the toe. Not at all aggressively though, because Paus is not very close to him. So Tier is allowed to do that. Of course, you're usually only allowed one defensive move to the inside and maybe one back. If the driver already pulls to the left and there's a bit of space between the two, you can squeeze them. But you can't excessively weave. But I'd say that's definitely alright. It's just excessive if you're doing it back and forth. But slow, gradual movements across to try and break the toe. Absolutely fine. Tier, though, driving the wheels off that car. Paus looking to go for a switcheroo maybe through turn 3. Get the drive off. That's been absolutely beautiful. That was so pinpoint precise. He's going to run side by side with Tier. Now up towards turn number 6. It's going to be the outside. How late can he brake on those mediums? He's going to go very late. Swoop all the way around the outside. The AlphaTauri giving him a good run on the inside, though. Gets a little bit squirmy. Nearly off the track. Well held. And good hands from Tier to keep that point in a straight line. But Paus up into P2. 9.6 seconds off Aces on this final lap. Not the most ideal situation to be. But Tier, if he can, might actually come back at him. Very low on fuel, the both of them. Actually, no, just only Tier. Low on fuel. But I guess with the DNFs, there's always next week, and then of course it doesn't mean anything just yet. And at least take the positives from it. You know, it's a long. You were there. What provided the result wasn't what you wanted, the pace was there. The raw pace was there, and that's always going to be confidence going into the season. And it's always nice to, of course, go in having that result, but at least the pace there. Yeah, that's a shame, Sumo. I'm going to guess. Cold tyres, but Aces comes across the line to take the win of the Chinese Grand Prix. He's going to be joined by second and third. Paus across the line second, with Tier on the podium for AlphaTauri. Davila, a good recovery to P4 as well. A good recovery from Paus up into P2. Going to be waiting for Kington, Tommy, Alex and Ginger to cross the line. Yeah, a great result for Tier. Very much deserves it. And without that penalty, he might have just been able to hold on for P2. with a little bit more motivation. But nonetheless, did very well. But a good result. Pomme Alex now with a couple more corners left to go. And we'll come home P6 with Ginger Prince P7. A lot of DNFs this race in relativity to the number of drivers on the grid. Pomme Alex across the line. Takes P6 with Ginger Prince now. Another top 10. And kept his nose clean all the way through, very consistent across the line. And P7 for him, still more points going his way, and it's going on the up for Ginger Prince, who's just consistent. Not the quickest, but consistent. Kington takes driver of the day in the Williams. For me, it's got to be either Palfs or Aces, both. Well, Aces just had such a quiet race. I didn't see much of him until the checkered flag and the start. Got a good start. Managed to get himself in front, and since then just checked out. So it is Aces that takes the win and the fastest lap, and pretty much led every lap, bar 1 or 2 maybe. So Aces takes the win with Palfs in P2. Tier rounds off the podium for AlphaTauri with Davila P4, Kington in P5 with Pomme Alex P6, Ginger Prince P7, and the DNFs of Sari, Max, Sumo, Jackalacco and MX saw their race come to a premature end. But I'm sure Palfs is going to be chuffed for that. Another podium, and another podium here in China. He does quite like the Chinese Grand Prix then, evidently so. And another good run of form for Aces. Heartbreak for Jackalacco and Sumo. And of course MX would have liked that to go a little bit more of a, well, be a different ending, definitely. And I'm sure all of the ones would have done. You have a good season when the stars align, yeah. Well, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? I think with Sumo, the promise is always there. It just doesn't ever deliver, whether that's through an unfortunate mistake or someone else's unfortunate mistake. It just never seems to hook up for Sumo. And I just hope that once the curse breaks, that it doesn't start again. Because there'll be one race where he actually does really well, takes the win, whatever it might be. And then hopefully from there, it doesn't ever happen again where it's unfortunate. And the curse starts again, the whole negative feedback loop. That starts again. So hopefully once it happens once for you, Sumo, once you get lucky once and have a good race, then you'll find a string of them come forth. Of course, this year in real life karting, yeah, APP's massive, really is, yeah. Of course, in real life karting, hadn't taken a win for around about a year and a half worth of actual racing in an actual final. Took one straight away the next month. I took a second one. So. And since then, I've only been off the podium once. So it's a curse. And once it breaks, you'll find yourself certainly doing a lot better than you expect. But nonetheless, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. It wasn't the best of races. We had a good race, a quality lap record as well for Sumo. Just need every race to be back, of course. But yeah, nonetheless, this has been the Chinese Grand Prix. Join us next week for the final pre-season race before we do start the season, round number 1 of the APPF1 Sprint Championship. But until then, guys, I'll catch you next time, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.